So good morning, everyone. Today we're going to talk about how to connect your IoT device to Azure IoT to build your own system from end to end. My name is Mustafa Mohammed. I'm the instructor for the cyber physical systems on University of Calgary, ENSF510. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and let's start right away. So first of all, we are going to prepare our Raspberry Pi. So I'm going to do it in two ways. One of them is to use Node-RED, which is an easy-to-use environment to program Raspberry Pi in a quick way. Other way is to use samples, so some Azure samples, so you can write your own code. Okay, so I'm going first to connect to it. This is a general IP address or general, connection string. You can use it there. You need to prepare your Raspberry Pi to be able to connect to SSH. I already prepared it, so it enabled SSH, and I have my username and password. So now I connected. If I want to start Node-RED, so all what you need to do is node-red-start. So this will start Node-RED as a service. If I go now in my browser, it says here's the IP address, which is port 1880. Okay, so I can use this IP address, like this one here. Sorry, not this one, the other one. But I can put it here on my Windows machine. So Raspberry Pi.local, port number 1880. This will automatically open for us Node-RED. I already prepared some stuff here, so we can take a look at it. But maybe we'll do it from scratch. So the easiest thing to do for now is let's go to get an existing flow. So there are flows online. You can go and choose from lots of resources or lots of flows and choose something that fits your need and try to use it. These are created by the community. So if you go to flows.node-red.org, lots of flows are there. So if you go there, you'll find lots of flows. So there are recent collection, recent flows, and nodes. These are nodes. You can just add them, install them in your Node-RED if you want to install any of them. And these are flows, which is kind of a full flow. Okay, so let's search for Azure. And I need flows, so we can get something that we can try right away. Oh, sorry. Disable the other and leave some flows. So flows, we have a couple of them available here. Again, these are created by the community, so some of them might be a little bit outdated, so you have to double check this. So text-to-speech, two-way custom search using Bing, IoT Hub example. This is a couple of examples, nice and easy to use, so let's take a look at them. And then there are others. So let's take a look at this one. Once you go in, it gives you a little bit information about it, gives you the GitHub, access to the GitHub. So the most important part is to copy this code. So I can click on copy. So I go back again and create a new flow. It's already there, but I'll do it from scratch. So, and then go here in the manage in this tab and then import, then you can paste. It's from clipboard. So I'm going to paste what I copied from the website. The flow. Okay, so this is a flow here, so let's import it. Already exists in your workspace, okay, because I already did that. Import copy. Okay, So now I have my flow in my node RED. Couple of settings we have to do, and also we have to make sure all nodes you have them or not. So for example, Azure IoT Hub, you need to install them, install these nodes. Most probably you will not have them, so you need to go to the manage, then manage palette, and then search for it. So go to the install, and then Azure. Make sure any missing node you need to install. So these are the Azure IoT. This is the Blob Storage, Azure Application Insights, Azure OAuth, Azure IoT Hub, but I don't think this one. We need. Looks like because I already installed them. So Azure IoT. Search for it. Yeah, I think this one. So Node-RED contribute Azure IoT Hub. This is the one we want. I already installed it. This one is dimmed for me. Should be able to install it here. You might also find any missing of these, just install them. These are inject nodes. This is a debug node. This is a function node. Most probably these will be okay, but this one you need to install, the Azure IoT Hub. Good. So once you have them already there, so you can go and start configuring them. So let's start first by node Azure IoT Hub. So let's go for the node itself and let's try to find it here. The documentation. Azure contribute, not this one. Which one is it? IoT Bridge, IoT Hub, Node-RED contribute, Azure IoT Hub. Yeah, okay. I think this is the one. So let's see its documentation. Node-RED contribute IoT Hub. Okay. This is how to install it globally. And then these are the existing nodes it has. Azure IoT Hub registry, IoT Hub receiver, device twin if you want to create a device twin. And then this is the input for it. So the input for the IoT Hub node, which is this one, the one we have it already. So it needs input like this. So you need to give it input in this format. Okay. The data is your own data, so put whatever data you need. The protocol, they have two protocols, or actually more. They have MQTT, HTTP, and these other two protocols. So you need to check one or like set one of these protocols. Put the key for your device ID and the device key from Azure. We are going to create a device and get these data from Azure. These are other nodes, so we are not going to use these nodes. So we just need to make sure the input in this looks like this one. So let's double check that. So go back in here. I'm just going to put them side by side so I can see it. So first, the IoT Hub itself. I choose a protocol MQTT. The host name, I have to put the host name from Azure. When I create it, I will get it in. But then here also for the input nodes, giving input to the Azure Hub, IoT Hub. This is the input you see here. If I click on the dots, you see the input. So we need to compare these to make sure the same. You see here, it's not the same. So device ID is it's not going to work because it's D capital. Okay. So, and we have here device ID is D small. So JavaScript, JSON is case sensitive. So we need to fix that. This is why we need to double check the flow if it's correct or not. And then it's called here key. Here it's called SAK. So this is wrong. So we'll make it key. Looks like it's an older version. For the protocol, it's P small, here P capital, and also the data should be D small. So we need to fix these to make sure it's going to work. Okay, so now I fixed these. The data, you can set any data based on your own sensor data or whatever data you have. So That's it. So let's say done. Done. I should do the same for the other. So if I go to the next one, so I have here to make it D small. This is a key. Data should be D small also. And protocol should be P small. Okay, I still actually need to put the device ID and the key. This should be also key. Should update these. So let's go now to the Azure IoT Hub. Put the Azure portal first. So let's go there. Maybe I put it here. Portal.azure.com and let's log in. Okay, so I'm going to create a new resource group. Create source group name IoT 2021-RG for resource group, and I'm going to put it in Canada. Say next and create. So I'm starting here from scratch. I'm creating. I created now a new resource group. Then inside my resource group, it doesn't show here. Let's refresh. Yeah, this is the one. Let's go there. Inside it, I'm going to create IoT Hub. IoT Hub. We need IoT Hub to upload our data from Raspberry Pi to a device inside our IoT Hub. So we have to go there, create the IoT Hub, and then we create a device in there. So IoT, let's say 99. We need a unique name. I'm going to put everything in Canada. For the networking should be okay. Public networking is fine. We need it actually public. For the management, the pricing tier, I tried actually the free tier, but it gave me some troubles. I'm not sure why. So I'm going to use the standard one. It's a little bit expensive. So once you finish, I don't need it. You just delete the resources to make sure you don't get overcharged. So that's it. So let's review and create. And create. This will create for us the IoT Hub. Once it's ready, I'm going to go in and create a device, because any device you connect, it has to be registered first on the IoT Hub and get the key registration and the point and the key to access it from there. Okay. This one takes a little bit of time, maybe during which I can go and create another resource we need. Go again to the portal. Let's log in. And for the same resource group, then let's create, okay, this is IoT Hub. Let's create a storage account. Storage. So we are going to store the data after we upload it. We are going to store it here in the storage account in a blob storage to be persistent, so we can use it later on anytime. The same resource group, this one. Storage account name, I think I'm using 99 as my, yeah, 99. So storage. Is already taken. Okay, my storage. Not available. IoT one storage. Okay, so let's keep it also in Canada. Same location, same region. So we don't get charged for data transfer between regions. Standard is okay. Okay, so I think that's it. Let's see, advanced. Okay, all good here. The standard, the default properties are okay. Then we can just create. So now let's leave it to create it, so no problem. So let's go back again. The deployment for the IoT Hub is done, it's complete. So we can click, go to resource, and let's see, this is our IoT Hub we just created. We go on the left-hand side, so there is devices, and then create a new device. So we need to register a new device. So for our Raspberry Pi to connect to it and upload data. So you need to click add device, give it a name. So it will be Raspberry Pi 99. Give it any name you like. And auto-generate key, that's fine. Enable connecting device to this. Okay, that's all good. So save. This will create a device for us on the IoT Hub. Then I can go inside it, click on the device to get the information I need. So I have here the device ID, the primary key, and the connection string. So let's see here the data. So this is the key we need. This is device ID, and this is the host name. So I'm going to copy this data and use it on my graph again on Node.js. So the first part here is the host name. So I'm going to copy it. Let's make this smaller. Go back here. Then double click on the IoT Hub, and then we need the host name, paste. So we need the host name, MQTT, that's good. Azure IoT Hub, yeah, that's fine. Call it something else if you don't. If you don't, no problem. Then going here to this data points, click on the dots here, and then I need the device ID and the key. So the device ID is here. I need to copy the device ID, copy, then paste here. Sorry, this is a key, not the ID. So this is a key, and then the device ID is the first one. So I'm going to paste here the device ID. That's it. I'm going to copy this data to duplicate it on the next node. So now that's all good. The data you can define, put your own data here, so no problem. For now, I'm just going, this is for testing. So leave it, that's good. So do the same for the second input. Change. I'm going to remove these and paste what I have. Oh, sorry. Yeah, this also will give me another speed. So let's make this speed 95. Just to change. Done. For the next one, we need also to do the fix. So the device ID and the key, let's replace them. Okay, the protocol should be P small, and the data should be D small. Maybe I can just copy this part, so I can use it for the next node. Because these nodes are kind of the same way, but changing the data a little bit. For here, this is another way to inject the data. So this one injects the data as a JSON, prepared JSON, so kind of static. Here we get the data, each data separately, then use this function to put them in a JSON file. Okay, so the data is coming from here. This injection point gives you the actual speed here. So the payload of the message is the actual speed. Okay, and the topic is speed. So this is what you are, or this node is going to inject. And then in the function here, this function takes the data and construct the JSON command to be sent. So let's fix it. So ID, which D small, this should be key, and the protocol should be P small, and data same. Let's put the ID again. Copy the ID from here and put it here. ID, this is as a key, sorry, and the ID is here, the device ID. I updated them. The rest should be okay. protocol key and data, and then these are the topics and the payload coming from the previous node. They are sending a topic, which is, for example, speed, and the payload is the actual value of speed. So this constructs the JSON file and send it back to the next node. This function is just to create the JSON using the input data. Whenever you click on one of these, it will inject the data. The data is going to be formatted in a JSON format, and this JSON format will be sent to the Azure IoT Hub here. And then this is this will send right away to Azure, this node, and this node is just for debugging purpose. So you can see here the output on the debug screen, which is this tab here. The debug screen should show here, and also at the same time, if I want, I can make it to show on the console. So system console. Also, I can see on the console the output. Let's say done. Then I think I should be ready now to use this. So let's deploy. Successfully deployed. That's great. We can double check from our command prompt. This is where we started the Node-RED itself. Okay, so the flow is here. It started the flow. It's already started. Okay, it's now, yeah, the time is correct. So this is the same one we just deployed. Then going back here, so now we are ready to inject. But when I inject the data, I should be able to see what happened on the server. Okay, I should be able to see what's happening on the server. I should monitor it somehow. So to do this, what's the easiest we have is to use Visual Studio Code. So this is Visual Studio Code. You can use it to monitor your IoT Hub. So what you need to do is to install an Azure IoT extension, Azure IoT Tools. I think this is the one, which installs for your IoT Hub tool and Azure IoT Edge, Azure IoT Device Workbench. So this one installs a couple of extensions actually. So Azure IoT Tools is what you need to install. Once you install it, you can go again to your Explorer tab. Then you will find here this tab, Azure IoT Hub. So in the Azure IoT Hub, you first need to connect to your Azure account. I already connected, but once you are here, you just click on it to connect to your Azure account. Then in here, you have to set IoT Hub connection. Select IoT Hub. You need to select IoT Hub because we're already connected. Set IoT Hub. Oh, sorry, I have already a process running, so I'll have to stop it. Maybe I have to restart it. What's the problem? Let's restart. Okay, so this is Azure IoT Hub again. So let's select IoT Hub. Okay, go to the subscription first, and then you have to select which IoT Hub. So I have a couple actually. So let's select the one we just created now. Okay, so this is the IoT Hub showing on the left. Then if you expand, you should see the device. So this is a device we just created. Okay, so if I right click on the device and then start monitoring built-in event endpoint. So this should show me here any events coming to this device should show up here. Okay, so let's put this on the side here. And then what I'm going to do is going back here. So make this minimize. Then I'm going for testing. I'm going to send a speed here, send a value. So let's click on it. Successfully injected, send one value. Okay. Then, oh, it's disconnected. Let's see what's the problem. IoT. Okay. Oh, there is a T missing here, maybe. Say done, deploy. And then let's connect again or inject again data. Yeah, we got the data injected, and now we can monitoring it. So the data is now injected from my IoT sketch here, the Node-RED. I can see it here also on the debug. Couldn't connect. This is the error I got, but then when I fixed it, it says here message sent. So the debugging can show us what's happening, and also at the same time I can see here from the command prompt here, it shows me the payload, the speed is 24. Okay, because I choose to do, for the debug to show me on the console here, and also on the left-hand side of the debug window, and also on the system console, so I can see it on my console from Raspberry Pi. So that's great. So it means now we connected our Raspberry Pi to the IoT Hub, and we are getting data over there. So the next step is we need to collect this data, because the data now only shows on the monitor, but it doesn't do much. So I can still also test these. So let's test them quickly. Other nodes. So the second node gives me data speed of 95. The third node injected this big data size, like few elements of data here. The speed here, again, it sends the data, only the speed, and this function constructs the JSON and sends the speed here, as you see, the temperature and the pressure. This is how it works. For sure, if I have this data coming from an actual sensor instead of these test nodes, so I can remove these test nodes and I can put a test actual input sensor. I can collect the data from a sensor instead of debugging as I'm doing here. Okay, so there are lots of nodes here. This output, sequence, parser, storage, cloud, I2C. These are stuff extra and all I installed. These dashboard nodes are really interesting to see. You can create your own dashboards here. Cognitive services from Azure, Raspberry Pi. So you can get some data from input from Raspberry Pi, or if you have some sensors, you can also install the node, certain node for this sensor, and collect data from the actual sensor. So next, what do we need to do is to create another process, a streaming process on Azure, to store the data on a storage account. Then from there, we can start next is to process the data using machine learning or any function or any whatever we like. I'm going to do it in the next video.